Hey everybody, so I did this video on how to make a school shooter, and it's kind of sort of weighed on me ever since that I didn't really speak about how to help a boy uh, who's in puberty who needs help. Um, the whole video was focused on the parenting, so I want to provide this as sort of the other side of the coin together as a pair. Because I do think it's important that it's one thing to criticize parents who are confused as to how and why their parental advice isn't working or helping their son. Uh, but if you don't provide the information on how to actually do it, that then you're also not contributing. At least that's how I feel, and so I'm doing this because I do want to contribute. Uh, so uh, I'm going to lead out with this. I've said this before. I'll say it again. That in math there is a nice little rule in math that says the distance from point A to point B equals the distance from point B to point A, right? Which seems pretty straightforward. If you drive to the store, it's the same distance back to your house, unless you take a different route, right? Um, and so there's a whole beautiful area of mathematics that just erupts from this one thing. But when you apply it to life, you end up with something that says the female life experience is so far removed from the male experience that men cannot ever hope to fully understand the female experience with 100% empathy and understanding. And the same is true that the male experience is so removed from the female experience that females can never hope to understand the male experience with 100% empathy. Now, I'm not a female. Spoiler, right? But, I'm in a unique position to have gone through what I went through and speak about it and speak about the things that I wish somebody had done for me, I wish adults had done for me. And so this is kind of sort of a guide for not just mothers, but maybe fathers who also have a son that are struggling to connect with him. Okay. So any male watching this channel knows that the school shootings almost overwhelmingly a big part of the rejection adolescent boys feel is the rejection of female classmates, right? And from the female perspective, this is different. And like I said, ladies, understand, it's different being a boy, right? When you're a girl, the girl's social strategy is largely acceptance based, okay? And by that I mean girls overwhelmingly, whether you're in the workplace or in any social situation, girls benefit the most if everyone in the group likes them and accepts them. To be a girl that is rejected and outcast and shunned can be quite dangerous for girls for many reasons. From the adult perspective of it, if we were back in the caveman days, hunter-gatherer, savage kind of thing, if you're a woman and you're outcast and shunned from the society, you and your children, and it's just you and the babies, then, you are saber-toothed tiger food, right? So from an evolutionary perspective, that's where largely the female prerogative comes from. And that's one reason why so many single moms tell their kids to be nice to everyone, just be yourself, just be nice, right? And it's because as a girl, and you ladies know this, when your boobs grow out, all of a sudden you start to receive a lot of attention all the time, a lot more than you did before, and certainly none that you've never really noticed until now, right? And if you don't manage that attention and the inflow of people constantly approaching you, and you all know this, there's creepy men out there, the older men, whatever, that manipulate, use, abuse, and lie to younger girls, right? And girls fall for it. That's outside of the scope of this. But generally, ladies, you know this to be true. It's very important that everybody in the group like you and accept you. This is exceptionally apparent in the workplace, right? We always hear women talk about the struggles of being a woman in the workplace. If you smile, if you laugh, then you're being a flirt. If you criticize, well, then you're being a bitch. If you keep your mouth shut, well, then you're just cold, right? It's like, well, what is the right way to be in the office, right? That's the female prerogative of being acceptance conscious, acceptance driven, right? That's the prerogative. Well, it's different for boys, okay? Because boys do not have girls barnstorming them left and right when their balls drop, right? So with boys, it's a lot different. And ladies, every woman has been in the situation where they say, why should I have to make the first move? I don't want to be the one to make the first move. Why should I initiate sex, right? Women largely don't want to be the one to make the first move. Why? They have to put that on to the men. Well, it is every bit as uncomfortable being a young boy starting out trying to learn how to do that, right? So even grown women don't like to do that because it creates anxiety, makes you nervous. There's a lot on the line. It feels like a gamble. What if they don't like me? What if I fall flat on my face? Okay, well, we're expecting this of 12, 13, and 14-year-old children. It's just that they're boys, okay? And unlike if you're a girl, your boobs just grow due to nature, but this is a social expectation placed on boys. It doesn't grow into boys. It's not just like, it's not part of the puberty package. It has to be learned. And if it's not properly supported, if you do not stand behind a boy in teaching him how to take these bold social steps and to take these high social risks and how to mitigate and handle and recover from the risks and the rewards, then you end up with a struggling, frustrated, depressed, emotional boy. And it's not toxic masculinity, right? All toxic, and this is opinion. Toxic masculinity is a parental self-medication term for mothers of sons who are confused as to why the female strategy that worked for them is not working for their male pubescent sons. That's my opinion, okay? And we all know toxic masculinity is also, again in my opinion, a politically correct term for calling somebody a douchebag, a dick, or an asshole, right? It's just you feel bad for calling a 12-year-old boy an asshole. But that doesn't mean 12-year-old boys can't be assholes, because they can. They can be little shits, right? It's beneath us as perfect parents to tell a young boy, stop being a dickhead. Shut the fuck up a little bit and learn something from some old people, right? Not enough parents use strong enough constructs for boys, okay? Because boys are expected to be strong. You have to use strong constructs for boys because they are still children. They are still children, and we expect them to do things that scare adults. So that is overwhelmingly the one thing you need to take away from this. Is respect the challenge that comes with being a young boy in junior high and support them, okay? Because they are the ones that have to initiate risky social maneuvers, right? They have to initiate things. They have to go up to the girl and talk to her. They have to make the first move, okay? And it's a really, really difficult thing. It's really hard to recover. If you're a boy and you try to make that first move on a girl who doesn't want it, the absolute social consequences of that is being increasingly demonized. And so we have this culture of decreasing support in the confidence and risk taking and the way that we raise boys, decreasing in our support and increasing the consequences of poor decisions or bad decisions and bad judgment calls. And then we turn around and we wonder why boys are less interested in girls and why boys aren't dating as much and why there's fewer dateable boys, and this whole confusion as to where are all the good men going, where are all the good boys going. You're killing them spiritually. Okay? Add on top of that, so on top of all of this, I haven't even mentioned testosterone. So on top of all of this, you have testosterone coursing through your veins. I've started taking testosterone replacement therapy. I've forgotten what it means to get a hard jolt of testosterone until now. I'm a 40-year-old man. Let me tell you something about testosterone when it hits, man. It makes me crazy. My wife even tells me, she's like, since you started, she's like, you can be a real douchebag now. Yes, I know. And it's an adult conversation we had going into it. It's like, I'm probably gonna do some really douchey shit. Right? I mean, I'm more emotional. I have more masculine energy that I exert into the space around me. Okay? Before I didn't mind things or people getting into my space, but like now I'm like more defensive of it. And if you come up and surprise me, like that's not something that that's not a reflex I've historically had. Okay, so I'm 40, and having the testosterone therapy is a challenge for me. I'm not a child. But children, not just boys, children, okay, children have to navigate this too. And mothers, you know, with all the love in the world, because my mom left my dad and she tried to raise she had 3 teenage boys, all 3 of us within 4 years. She left my dad with a 12-year-old, 14-year-old, 16-year-old. And she did right by us. We all graduated school. All of us got college degrees. All of us made it through school. None of us ended up in jail. And she earned 2 master's degrees in that time, all on a teacher's salary. I don't know how she did it. She had my grandparents helping her. So, do you need a man? No, my mom never dated anybody after my dad. My dad was, well, cluster B and narcissistic. He was a narcissistic Christian. And so that was, after being married to him for 17 years and being at her age, and she had too much on her plate to get her boys through college and graduated, and by the time all that was done, she was in her 50s, and she was like, I feel like, what do I need a man for? It's like she's like, the only thing bringing another human being into my space will do is just irritate me, because now I have somebody else to worry about. No, right? So that's just how she was. If you're a single mom listening to this, understand it's no disrespect against single moms. My mom did an outstanding job, and I understand the challenges. But a part of you, if you have a son, if you have boys, a part of you as a woman knows that you don't really fully understand what is going on with this testicular American that's there in your nest. There are just some things that you just don't understand, and you just don't know how to advise. And that was something I was very critical of in my last video. I don't understand why my advice isn't working. Just be nice to the girls, right? Why aren't all the girls flocking to him? Why is he struggling? Yeah. You need to understand that the challenges faced by children are challenges that we as adults are glad that we don't have to face. They are challenges that we as adults struggle to meet ourselves. Even adult women don't like making the first moves. They don't like making that bold step. And yet we expect it of children. Okay? So how can you properly support a boy, right? Adopt a boy. You know, how do you get in a boy's corner? Well, first of all, and most of all, understand that children learn more from their peers than they do from you. So keeping them in proper company of proper boys is a good first step. Keeping them is socially engaged instead of coming home and sitting on a tablet. You know, extracurricular activities, other boys that they can hang out with. Okay, that's one thing. If whether you're a man or woman, read some books on pickup arts, and then you strip out the stuff relevant to adults and sex and hookups and one night stands. And you take what you learn and you juvenile it down to something that is more appropriate for children. And what you end up with is this kind of knowledge. That what makes boys attractive to girls is the energy with which they live their life. Okay, it's your energy level. Okay, it's your spirit. Okay, this is one reason why nothing irritates women more than to see a man laying on the couch on his phone for too long. A man who is stationary for far too long becomes unattractive because you're like, do something, right? You know, you want to see him out there chopping down trees with his beard or, other stuff. A man in motion. And the example I give is that, I always give the example of Batman and Robin. Be Batman. Girls want to be Robin, right? Who is Robin? The sidekick, right? Batman never says, hey, Robin, what are we doing tonight? Right? Who is Batman? Batman is in charge of his own destiny. He's really good at what he does. He's got two sides. He's a good business person during the day. He's wealthy. He's successful. He's smart. He's intelligent. At night, he goes out in the Batmobile and beats criminals to a pulp. He has his purpose. He's very driven. Nothing intimidates him. He's very competent and confident. Those are the two things that determine your status as a male. See, there is no social dominance hierarchy for women among women. Women do not put themselves on a hierarchy. Boys do. And what girls do is girls are more than happy to simply deflect to the male hierarchy. So you'll have a group of girls, and generally girls sort of arrange themselves by who's the pretty one, who's the cute one, right? But you're not as hierarchy driven as boys are, because you'll get together as a group of girls night out. Let's go out a girls night out and see what comes our way. But what happens? The boys of status will come to the group of girls, and whichever boy is at the top gets first pick. And so apparently she's the pretty one that night, and then the second one will come, and the third one. And more times than not, that's what you end up with. Okay? So what drives your success as a boy, and this is the lessons to teach them, the only two things that matter is your competence and your confidence, which means all you have to do is just don't look stupid, And it's easier said than done, right? You don't open yourself up to make mistakes. And if you're not good at something, and this is why it's so confusing to teach boys, right? Because if you're not good at something, all you have to do is merely own it. That's competence. So I am not an athlete, not in the least, okay? And I know this. So anytime the pressure comes on to be play sports or whatever, I was like, just so y'all know, this is not my thing, okay? I'm not a star player. I suck, but that's fine. I'm willing to participate. And that's pretty much all it takes. Well, that's competence. And then to have the confidence to go out there and just suck anyways, but that's okay because people knew what they were getting into and they asked for it anyways. See what I mean? You don't have to be the best at what you do. You can be the worst at something, and as long as you know how to manage it competently, it doesn't matter. That's how that works. You know, and the last thing I'll leave you with the testosterone and all of the social risks that you have to take in initiating things with girls and all of that, boys need to have an outlet. And I do mean a physical outlet, something to release all that pent up energy. Boys need daily exercise and not just jumping jacks and all that stuff. They need a punching bag. They need something to take out anger, hate, frustration, aggression, negativity. Yeah, all these, quote, toxic masculinity, whatever stuff you want to talk about, it builds up and festers if they don't get it out of their system, which we used to say all the time. Just go get it out of your system. Go ahead and fight. Just maybe the boys should just go fight. Let them get it out of their system. That's how we used to parent. We didn't have toxic masculinity back then. Sometimes you got your ass kicked. We didn't go around saying, oh, it's toxic masculinity. No. It was just understood. Sometimes boys need to fight. Sometimes somebody needs to get their ass kicked. That is still true. We are still the same human beings. We didn't change that much in a generation. You know, we changed how we talk about it. But it never went anywhere. Okay? We just changed the way we talked about it because we think we sound smarter and more intelligent if we speak about the same thing differently. But that's the only thing that has changed is our language. The problem itself hasn't changed. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to make it any better by using word choice. Okay? If you do not understand the problem, your word choice will not solve the problem. The problem is still there, no matter how eloquent of a language you describe it in. It will not go away if you use politically correct terms. The problem is still there. And so, with that in mind, your boy needs daily physical exercise, a punching bag, something. He needs to be able to kick something's ass at least a few days a week, physically. So, at least get him a punching bag, because over time, he'll develop a good punch and he'll be able to throw a good right hook. And then when the day comes where he needs to do that, little girls will see that and they'll feel safe and secure around him. So then, why should my boy have to learn how to fight? Why get him a punching bag, all that stuff? Yeah, there will be nothing but positive gains from that. So, I've spoken enough about it, at least for this. I'm approaching 23 minutes, but I could probably speak for hours on end about how to help young boys. But I think this is a good place to start. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you all on the next video.